Oh, yeah, Jojo, little boss Skaggs, everybody. How are y'all doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning in and appreciate it, man. You got a lot of places you can go, and it's an honor to have you here. So, welcome, Soul Tribe. And speaking favor over us all, nothing missing, nothing broken. You speak it long enough and it starts manifesting, even when you don't even think about it. It's like, wow, favor. And then you got the other thing. So anyway, good to see everybody as I tune in here to see how is the stream coming. And YouTube says excellent connection. Kind of reminds me of little Kenny Rogers in the first edition. Just checking in to see what condition my condition is in. Yeah. Bet y'all remember that one. Hey, Gilbert, I see that you're there. But let me tell you what, folks, Gilbert has had a rough surgery. I think the surgeon that went in and looked at his shoulder and said, man, what the hell happened here? So, Gilbert, we love you, brother, and sending you healing vibes all over. And the rest of y'all as well. Those of you, Hey, Lost in Space and Lori, what's up? Robert V. And Susie Q, you're working, eh? Well, all right, darling. We're sending lots of favor your way. Hey, Chloe, what's up, darling? Good to see you. Howdy, right back at you. Jargo, good to see you. Morning Star. So what else is happening? Let's see. Yeah, got that. So I'm looking in here. So what else going on, folks? It's got kind of a weird energy, and the energy is going to be like freaking all over the place. I don't know how many of you keep up with Ben Davidson, but you should. And if you did, you would have known that yesterday at about my time, I guess it was 4 o'clock, maybe a little bit before or after, that our son popped off a M class 9.9 solar flare heading our way. CME, it's coming. And this is on top of already two others that, the planet's going to be whacked here for the next 48 hours. So get ready for it. You're going to see potential transformers exploding. You're going to see systems going down. And if the trend continues, the weakening of our magnetic field, the magnetopause, is like way down there, and it is still going down, down, down. But anyway, it's so it should be interesting. Have no doubt we'll be seeing some auroras here in the southern part of the United States. So anyway, get prepared for it. That energy, it messes with us, man. It does. More and more science coming out, and science is nothing more than outdated magic, or Wayne Steiger. Yeah, they're saying, these bodies are connected. We're connected to that thing in the sky, that big, whatever color it is these days. It was at one time yellow, but I think it's gone to white, and who knows? So, yeah. And issues like cognitive issues, thought, thinking, rational people, cardiac, yeah, mental, memory care facilities. All we see when these solar storms hit, it really accepts the resonance. So yeah. Anyway, let's us continue on. Hey, Kate, Chris, what you up to? The sketch, Anunnaki Sumerian art. She says, I graffiti. Hey, Go, all the way from Croatia. How you doing, my friend? Much love to you. All over you, all over the world. Gaza and Julie and the rest of you good folks down there, and Lauren. Let's see, Australia and now New Zealand, yeah. So Johnny looks overhead. How you doing? Good to see you. Hey, Kitty, good to see you. Cecilia, very good to see you as well. You're breaking my heart. So, man, nuts stuff going on. So the topic of today, kind of, hey, Brian, good to see you, Z Hunter. Hello, what's up? So kind of feeding off of what we were discussing yesterday, particularly when Trina and we were talking about how you come to a point where you look at all this, and I don't know if it's really just a veil. I don't know if it's used the proverbial scales drop from our eyes, but you suddenly become aware on a level that you look at all this and it's just, you shake your head. Everything is a lie. And I didn't realize it, but Trina, and there's been several others in my meditation time, it's what's been coming to me is that this illusion that I'm immersed into it. I know I am. And I look around and it's one bizarre existence. There's so much about this realm that on one level is quite beautiful. I mean, nature, how she can grow and how she can transform a landscape, how she can make the sky become more colors than any artist could ever replicate. Ashley, good to see you. And Rick, hello, good to see you as well. And I think I saw John in there. So anyway, it's quite fascinating. Complex life. If life is nothing more but for the struggle of the fact that you could say that this consciousness experienced such. But we know that as much as we love to look at that, then in order for nature to do that, there is this death and rebirth. Now, I don't know, maybe some people kind of dig that. I get it. You know, I'm obviously here and you are, so we're a part of this, but at the same time, as fantastic as it can be, it's a dangerous place here. I mean, it really is. We're either eating something so that we can maintain life, or something's going to eat on us. And that goes down to, the micro scale, viruses, bacteria. I can tell you, they can kick your ass. Survivor of meningitis and Lyme disease, it can seriously kick your ass. Can't even see it. And living in with us. And then, not talking about the other things that could eat you. And it's everywhere. It's on the land, it's in the air, it's in the ocean. I mean, there's stuff in the ocean. Man ain't the superior. No freaking way. It's probably why we haven't explored our oceans, Odd. Here we are expanding out, looking into the universe and trying to find the answer of our existence. And yet, we have within us probably the answer right there in the oceans themselves. But I digress. So outside of that, I mean, yeah. But when you really look at it from a certain point of view, really we're experiencing death. Now, the elation of what we experience as in this death realm, it's mesmerizing. It creates memories. And we like it. We really do. In my life, I look back and you just marvel. You just do. And it's like, yeah. And there's a plethora of experiences that one can partake of. But no matter how much you experience it, in the end, it's still kind of depleting your energy while you're here. And then after a while, what was once a joyful experience in some cases becomes a habit. And then a habit becomes addictive. And all of a sudden you're on the flypaper again. And it's odd because so many times we take this in such a cavalier way, define truth. No matter what you define truth back, I'm going to come back at you and say, you're a liar. Not personally, but metaphorically, I said, that's a lie. How can the truth be the truth when you can't define what the lie is? And the natural response is, well, the lie is the opposite of the truth. But there ain't no truth. There isn't. Truth. So many of us here, we read, we study, we contemplate, we think, we take that inner journey. Like the Moody Blues says, you can never go outside until you dive deep inside. You find out that when you dive deep inside, it's this doorway that leads to the outside. Figure that one out, huh? And you look at this and we seek truth, knowledge. I don't believe knowledge is good or bad. I think it's neutral. It's just knowledge. It's like electricity. It's just electricity. You can do a lot of things with it. It can kill you, but it can also give you a lot of pleasure, comfort. Knowledge is the same way. We seek this thing called truth. Man, I was in, and as many of y'all know, I mean, it's part of who I am. But for 50 years, I was into this belief system that I thought was truth. My elders told me it was truth. Those in the offices of the religion said it was truth. And then that moment comes when you realize the very name itself is a lie. It's an illusion. Never existed. And then you begin to look at this thing, and that the thing about it is they won't tell you what truth is. What they will say, and I used to say it, preached it from the pulpit, pull you into the pit, preaching in the prisons. I remember telling men, the only truth is the word of God. It's the only thing you can depend on as truth. But that's a goddamn lie. Because God never wrote anything. Says that he spoke it, but I don't know who was there to hear it. Then you begin to find out that the so-called word, well, it's just that. It's a thought. It's a word. If you didn't have vocal cords, would you still have words? Or do you just grunt? Like hearing people having sex. I mean, what the hell is that? Maybe it's because it's primordial. I don't know. But I know it's not truth. I don't know what truth is. Oh, I'll continue to read. I'll continue to search, continue to expand as long as I'm here. Take advantage of it. Such knowledge. There's so much knowledge that I've come to the conclusion that I'll never ascertain it all. And that which I have read, much like the Word of God, it's written by a man, a human. And if a human wrote it, I can't trust it. I don't care what you say. Oh, let me tell you, folks, I mean, back in the day, our congregation grew from, it was a small amount, a few families. We were just young and grew to over 5,000. And in that journey, we would have, prophetic prophecy sessions, singing in tongues, speaking in tongues, and it was all bullshit. It really was. It's like when you walk through the doors of those sanctuaries and they hug you and say, "We love you, brother." You don't even know me. You know? And come to find out, they really don't love you at all. As long as you stay with the script, everything is cool. But boy, you step outside and color outside the lines, baby, they'll give you the left foot of fellowship right out the back door. Won't give you the privilege of walking out the front door. Hell no, you're going to the back door. And that's really where, the last nearly 15 years of my life have been. And you realize that you can really get into a point of confusion. That's the trap. Because then you can get into this mental game. Well, I don't know if that's truth. I don't know if that's a lie. This one says that they're telling the truth, but that one tells me they're saying that this one's telling a lie. So is the one who's telling me that the person who's lying is lying? Are they lying? I don't know. Can get confused. The thing is, you have to rise above it and just simply come to realize it doesn't really matter. I mean, the construct of truth and lie is the epitome of dualism. One can't exist independently by itself, because if it does, it ceases to exist. Example, if good, and again, truth, we're connecting those words synonymously, right? Because that's what we've been trained. Well, good is truth. Well, how do you know that? Good may be the lie. But if they were the only two things that existed, let's say truth, well, it would soon, you would forget. It's like if there's only good can't exist unless there's bad or evil. And it's the whole heaven-hell thing. I mean, if there was just heaven, there'd be no reason for heaven. If there was just hell, there'd be no reason for just hell. But if you have them competing against one another, well, that's where it really gets fun. And then it's all predicated on lies. What was it that is written in the book of John that supposedly this cat Jesus, that there was never no one named Jesus, but anyway, supposedly meets the devil. I don't know who the devil is, but meets him. And you get the idea of the reference of them, that there's this Satan. And he says, well, Satan is the father of lies. There's no truth in him. Think about that. There's no truth. That's probably the one fact that you may say, that's probably true. There is no truth. And if there is no truth, then we have a lie. I mean, think about it. I used to be really involved in politics. Way back in the day, worked on Dick Gaffart's campaign, got him elected to Congress, and have known more than my fair share of congressmen and senators. It was never my goal, never my intent, but the path of my life interjected into those circles. And the thing that I began to see, because the allurement is, if you can get next to power, then you can begin to use the power. I mean, whether it's a proxy or not. I mean, if you're sitting down having cigars and drinking fine brandy with a group of men, there's no women in there, group of men, you find out very quickly the system works on deception, deceiving, and lying. They know this very well about it. The whole structure is founded on deception. And it's even odd because in my Bible studies, I always found it odd that Jesus told the 12 dudes, right? There was no women there, but I digress, and said, to you are given the keys to heaven, the keys to understanding. To all the rest out there, they will get what? Lies, deceptions, and confusion. Well, wait a minute. I know this. None of us was in that inner circle, so that means we're probably on the outside, right? So right there you go. And they keep telling me, I really spoiled a group today because I told them that their Christmas holiday is a pagan holiday. It's Saturnalia. Oh, they did not like that. Hey, Lucky Stone, how are you? He says lies are based on what? Let me go back and see that. Goes by pretty quick here. But yeah, I didn't like that shit at all, but it is. I mean, everything that we consider holy is profane. That which is profane is probably holy. I mean, think about it. So anyway, I found out within me, I didn't want that. There was something that was heavy about it. And you begin to realize this is a true story. I knew Senator Byrd. Well, I kind of introduced him. I didn't know him. I was introduced to him, and there was this thing going on. And I heard him say, he said to this group, they were talking about other senators. And the one that they mentioned, who is the current cat in the White House, said, well, I'll tell you one damn thing. If there was ever a liar, it's Joe Biden. That's what the guy said. And it was well known that there are certain politicians that are just liars. That's all they do. It's not an issue of character. It's not an issue of virtue. They lie. That's all they do. It's all they have. They're masters at it. And they're not alone. I mean, when you watch so-called officials who testify under oath, and these are people like Ray, Garland, Mayorkas. I mean, they lie. Fauci lied deliberately. And it's because they don't see us as worthy of the truth. But I can guarantee you they don't know the truth either. So you have this illusion of so-called virtuosity that exists in government when it's just the opposite. It is absolute corruption. Everywhere you see it's corruption. You have people making promises they never intend to keep. They're lying. So lying is the accepted norm. Now, it becomes a lie when you begin to point out, when you start pointing it out to others, and they're going to say, oh, that's a lie. No, but it is a lie. It's an exact lie. They lie. You call up your representative, talk to them. In fact, they'll lie to your face. Predication of lies. So if your very government, which represents spiritually the spirit of the masses, then it's a foundation of lies. Because everybody lies. Everybody. I can tell you when I was the CEO and hiring people, the biggest problem we had was people lying on their resume, embellishing their resumes. I found the same thing in religion. Because the thing about religion is that, well, it's the twin whore of politics. And religion is a whore, just like politics is. It must be adored. It must receive presents, gifts. It must have your attention, your devotion. And if religion isn't a lie, then you tell me, why are there so many different religions? You can't seriously tell me that one religion is truth. You can't tell me that. You're lying. Because the fact that there is thousands of religions, each one believing their truth. So they're all truth or they're all lies. Do we really care? Children. It's an amazing thing about our development as we go through the phases. As children, lying comes normally, very naturally. But the thing about lying is that it's also predicated upon fear, just as the truth is. The Apostle Paul says, I use deception and trickery against you. It's almost like a spell, isn't it? And in religion, the illusion is that you say, well, God is love. The hell he is. You're a goddamn liar. Because I can show you chapter and verse where he ain't. So who's the liar? Me or you? We both are. It's what we do. We lie. We like lying. The thing about the internet is that it's brought out the liar of everybody. Because you see, you can hide behind just a name. You can say anything you want. How does anyone know you're lying or telling the truth? It's a deep subject, folks. Let's talk philosophy. Philosophy is full of lies. In fact, depending on your point of view, you could say that philosophy is basically the curator of lies. Oh, because we can have our philosophical discussions, because we live in the metaverse and we're into, the metaphysics, and it's all about ascension, brother. You just can't, you have to understand it's complicated, but there really is a purpose to it. And there really is a point. Really? Your philosophy is a lie. Aristotle said about the much. Socrates. The illusion and deception is so great. I mean, you could say the fact that we think we have souls is a lie. No proof of that at all. None. But we believe it, so it makes it truth. Let's take the media. The media is all about lies. It's about planting a thought, a deception, an illusion into your mind. Whether you're Fox News, MSNBC, NBC, ABC, they're all lies. There's no truth. And it's interesting when you have a government who says, well, we're going to set up a ministry of truth. Whose truth? When you get into the discussion of disinformation, misinformation, What are you saying? That somehow you're the caretaker of truth? You're a goddamn liar. You don't know what truth is. Social platforms, all about lies, commercialism. Every freaking holiday that we have that's so-called religious is predicated and founded on a lie. There is no Christmas. There was never no baby born in a manger on the 25th of December, 2,000 years ago. They didn't even have that, folks. It's absolutely a fucking lie. Let's go with Easter. Suppose that this resurrection, well, it's predicated on the foundation of a holiday worshiping prostitution. I mean, it's get you down. I mean, you're going, well, then what's up, Steiger, with this? Listen, I get it. I mean, the only thing that I have concluded to, when I go inside, there's only one truth, and that's my truth. Now, it may be a lie to you, and your truth may be a lie to me. Doesn't matter. It's my truth. It's your truth. You'll carry it with you as you transcend into whatever the rest of the journey transcends to. I mean, you have to ask yourself, well, if it's like down here, then what is it like in this spiritual kingdom? Well, apparently they got the same problem. Apparently they don't know what truth is and what lies. It's all depending on your point of view. I mean, that's the problem with religions and death. Do you really think that if a Muslim dies that they're going to go to a Christian heaven? Or vice versa? Goddess says, the truth is relative. And that's true. It really is. And then, the thing that I can say about the occult, that if I was to define truth as basically shining light upon that which I look at, okay, metaphorically that kind of works, then I can say that the occult has shined the light on a lot of stuff. I mean, my belief system was more based on, because of some cat sitting in a platform saying that he's the voice of God and speaking by God's authority. The occult has shown to me I don't need any dude or dudette telling me from a platform, a pulpit, whatever, because they don't know either. But at least within the occult, I have found where much of the belief systems came from. And you're going, wait a minute. I mean, it's like the fact that when you really find out Christmas is Saturnalia, that's all it is. Just has a different wrapper on it. Think you're going to get the golden ticket? Hey, Cowboy 8, what's up? Mark, how you doing? I often think that is illusion within a dream, because there's a lot of truth to that. It seems more dreamlike than it does real. So I thought it might be fun. I went out into my library and I said, all right, I got more books than I can ever read. But I said, well, the Book of Lies. Did you know there were such a books? There actually is. And I thought for the fun of it that we might just take a look at what a couple of Book of Lies. This one is by Crowley. This is the Liber 33. The Book of Lies, falsely so called. And if you haven't read this one, if you haven't gone, and I don't know where you stand on Crowley, but the guy did have some interesting points of view. I mean, he certainly was a master at the craft. So it says, this is the book of lies, which is also falsely called breaks, the wandering or falsifications of the one thought of the Freder, I think that Prodero, no, Crowley, we'll just say that, which thought is itself untrue. Like, okay. Anyway, this is an interesting book. Just to read you this, and if you want it, I'd be more than happy to share it. It's out there. It's easily, you can find it on PDF. Anyway, the number of the book is 333, as implying dispensation, so as to correspond with the title Breaks and Lies. However, the one thought is itself untrue, and therefore its falsifications are relatively true. Exactly. I mean, I get that. Most of y'all too. I mean, we just talked that. It consists of statements as nearly true as it's possible to the human language. The verse for Tennyson is inserted partly because of the pun on the word break, partly because of the reference to the meaning of this title page as explained above, partly because it's intensely amusing. Crowley, you see. Wouldn't it have been something if there had been YouTube back in the day? Could you imagine Crowley on his channel? The anti-primal triad, which is not God, nothing is, nothing becomes, nothing is not. The first triad, which is God, is I am, I utter the word, I hear the word. Now that's interesting when you think about this, because it's always been a gap in my putting the pieces together. And it says, in the beginning was God. Okay. We know he came from darkness. Got that. Where? I don't even know if it's a he. Still say it's female, but then again, this could be a completely rogue character, which we've discussed that. So I guess maybe he's saying because he heard it, that therefore he spoke it, so he heard it. And thus it became. Okay. We know that isn't the case. Again, I think Lilith told us rightly. This is an impetuous, imperfect being that thinks it's God. A Shekinah glory, the cloud. Yeah. The abyss. The abyss is the word is broken up. There is knowledge. Knowledge is relation. These fragments are creation, the broken manifest lights. Trina, I think of you when I read that. The second triad, which is God, God the Father and Mother, is concealed in generation. Now, I'll give Crowley this. I think he had it right. If it's not the male dude, No, it has to be, if you're going to say anything, it's 2 in 1. God is counseled in the whirling energy of nature. God is manifest in gathering, harmony, consideration, the mirror of the Son and of the heart, the Father and the Mother. Because remember, in the Old Testament, there ain't no Father. And I had one person, I wish you would follow up on that as I challenged you, show me in any Aramaic, any Hebraic belief system where Father was associated with God. Not there. Meaning, when Paul, in his epistles, when he says greetings in the name of God the Father and the Son, whoa, who is this? It's one of the greatest deceptions on the planet, folks. You tell me who the Father is, and maybe we might have a conversation that's meaningful. The third triad, bearing, which is preparing, wavering, flowing, flashing, stability, begetting. The 10th emanation, the world. And I like this. You'll like this. So they actually give you commentary. So the chapter number corresponds with the negative, which is before the kether and the collabistic system. You'll like this. And basically it gets into the phallus and the sperma, of which is how creation works, even with words. Let's see. Commentary on the primal triad. This is the negative trinity. Its three statements are, in an ultimate sense, identical. They harmonize being, becoming, not being, the three possible modes of conceiving the universe. The statement, nothing is not, technically equivalent to something is fully explained in the essay called The Bezereth. The rest of the chapter follows in the symphonic system of the Kabbalah and constitutes a sort of quintessential comment upon that system. Those familiar with that system will recognize the Kether, the Shomach, the Benai, and the first triad, Dayath, in the abyss. Let's continue. The unbroken, absorbing all, is called darkness. That one stuck out at me. I said, that's interesting. The unbroken is actually absorbing all and is called darkness. This is the Sabbath of the goat. This is interesting. Let's see. Oh, the heart of Nox, the night of Pan, duality, energy, death. Death, begetting, the supporters of O. To beset is to die. To beget is to die. To die is to beget. And that's always what got me. And again, if you reference to the Bible, you have the begets in the book of Matthew, which is correlated as well back in the book of Psalms. It's interesting. The begets. Cast the seed into the field of night. Life and death are two names of A. Kill thyself. Neither of these alone is enough. Talk about some esoteric. The shape of the figure, I suggest, is the phallus. This chapter is therefore called the Sabbath of the goat, the witch's Sabbath, in which the phallus is adored. The chapter begins with a repetition of O referred to in the previous chapter. And many of you have asked, this is really gets into the sex magic. If you want it, that's what I'll send it to you, or you can actually find it. The cry of the hawk. Hor hath a secret fourfold name. It is do what thou will. 4 words, not one, many, all. Thou, equated to child. Thy name is holy. The kingdom is come. Thy will is done. Here is the bread. Here is the blood. Bring us through temptation. Deliver us from good and evil, that mine as thine be the crown of the kingdom even now. Abaradraya. These 10 words are for a name of one, which equals 10. So this is the inverse of the Lord's Prayer. And I thought it's interesting that it says, just deliver us from both the good and the evil. Like, get me the hell out of here. By the way, the hawk refers to Horus. The chapter begins with a comment on the Liber Legis III. The 4 words, do what thou will, are also identified with the 4 possible modes of conceiving the universe. Horus unites these. Follows a version of the Lord's Prayer suitable to Horus. Compare this with the version in chapter 44. There are 10 sections of this prayer, And as the prayer is attributed to Horus, they are called four, as above explained, but is only the name of Horus, which is fourfold. He himself is one. This may be compared to the Kabbalistic doctrines of the 10 Sephiros of the expression of the Tetragrammaton. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 equals 10. It is now seen that this hawk is not solar, but mercurial. Hence, the words, the cry of the hawk, is essential part of Mercury, being his voice and the number of the chapter B, which is Beth, the letter of Mercury. So anyway, it goes on. I have another one I want to share. This one is called The Book of Lies, the Disinformation Guide to Magic and the Occult. This is really a good book. I can tell you, if those of you who want a serious book on magic, not the illusion and the tricksting, but really what magic is, and we talked about that so much. There's so much to talk about that we'll always be talking about it. But this is really a good book for your reference library. And if you've ever had any questions as to how to make magic work in your life, this is a good one to have. There is so much here. Let's see. I think we'll go to we'll just read a little bit of this. This is a good book. It really is. So this is Magic in Theory and Practice, and notice how magic is spelled, which is, as they say, the proper and respectful way to spell magic. Just listen to myself now. Pop magic is magic for the people. Pop magic is naked magic. Pop magic lifts the 7 veils and shows you the tits of infinity. There we go. colorful writing. All you need to begin to practice of magic is concentration, imagination, and the ability to laugh at yourself and learn from mistakes. Some people like to dress up as Egyptians or monks to get themselves in the mood. Others wear animal masks or Barbarella costumes. The use of ritual paraphernalia functions as an aid to the imagination only. I love it. And a little spoiler alert. If you've ever had issues of having things manifest, this is a good book to read. I mean, I do my best trying to say, you speak it. Eventually, you begin to believe it. Once you begin to believe it, then you begin to know it. And as you speak it, then you know it. And that's where the magic happens. First steps on the path. Magic is easy to do. Dozens of rule books and instruction manuals are available on the cult or mind, body, and spirit sections of most modern bookstores. Many of the older manuals were written during times when a powerful and vindictive church apparatus was attempting to suppress all roads to the truth, but most of them are generally so heavily coded and disguised behind arcane symbol systems that it's hardly worth the bother, except for an idea of how other people use their imaginative powers to interpret non-ordinary contacts and communication. Crowley, Magic Picasso's, wrote this, and I can't say it any better than he did. In this book, it is spoken of the Sephiroth and the paths of spirits and conjurations, of gods, spears, and planes, and many other things which may or may not exist. It is immaterial whether they exist or not. By doing certain things, certain results follow. Students are most earnestly warned against attributing objective reality or philosophical validity to any of them. My interpretation is that sometimes it just is what it is. So this is the important rule, of which is why it's here at the start. As you continue to learn and develop your own psychonisms and styles of magical practice, you will encounter stranger and stranger denizens of the hell worlds and the hyper worlds. You'll come back to these words of wisdom again and again with a fresh understanding each time. How to be a magician. Simple. Declare yourself a magician, behave like a magician, practice magic every day. Be honest about your progress, your success and failures. I'll say this, I have failed far more than I have succeeded. But those successes triumph all my failures. That's all I can say. Tripping on 500 mushrooms might loosen your astral spinnaker. I love the way this guy writes. Your astral spinnaker, sphincter, a little, but will not generally confer upon you any of the benefits of the magic. That, in Wayneism, I would say, most people cyclically are so their buttholes are so tight they can make a diamond out of a chunk of coal in about 30 seconds. But anyway, magic is about what you bring back from the shining realms of the uber consciousness. The magician dives into the immense other in search of tips and hints and treasures he or she can bring home to enrich life in the solid world. And if necessary, fake it till you make it. And here's the thing. So we're probably going to get more into this book tomorrow. Because I really want to kind of stop right there. But anyway, I'll just say, declare yourself a magician, behave like one, practice it, and you're going to become one. It is inevitable. And here's the thing that, give me 1 second as I go to over here. I put that there. Okay. There we are. Hey, dude, you're looking good. Yeah. So something I learned about calling those things that be not as they are. I'll just share a little bit of my mind. So you're welcome to come in. So I come out of the Word of Faith movement of Christianity. And in that, we were taught, according to the New Testament, that without faith, you can't please God. And I knew faith. But I always got myself tripped up because you're supposed to be honest, right? At all times. But if faith is calling those things that be not as though they are, then am I not lying by saying, for instance, I'm healed when I'm not? No, I can't say not, because that cancels out what I just said I was. It's just that simple, not more complicated. And so think about this. So as I know, is Hebrews 11:1 says, now faith is, which means faith is always working in the now. Well, you apply that to transcendental meditation and you realize that that's living in the now. Like washing dishes, where a lot of times I'll do some of the serious magic work. So now faith is the evidence of things hoped for, the affirmation or the title deed of their existence in the physical, manifesting, calling those things that be not as though they are. Now, earlier when I talked about being around all the politicians, what I found interesting about these men, and to a lesser degree women, but it was mostly men, is they had stumbled on this. There's more than one that I know that stood in the mirror and said, I'm going to be elected. I'm going to be, even when it was heavily against them. My point, what I'm trying to bring out, is that this is magic. If we live in a world of illusion and lies, then what's the alternative? I would say the alternative is to master it. Don't let it defeat you. Don't let it allow you to become confused, despondent. We can't change the essence of what this world is, but we can certainly use it to our advantage. And is that any more wrong than a group of unseen beings, people, manipulating governments, policies, companies, board of directors, investors, worlds, countries, wars? Very little we can do about that. But what I have found out, and I have seen this play out time and time again, one of the things I know about entrepreneurism, you know why that the successes that I've had in entrepreneurs, and I've had failures, the failures I've had was because of primarily one thing. It lost the cohesion of the founders, the belief. The companies that I have been with that are very successful is that belief system was so inbred into the founders of the company, and we were able to overcome all the obstacles. And that's what I do know about this. And this is why it's not a message of discouragement. All right, this is how it works. You can bitch and moan, but that isn't going to do anything. So if we master the elements, that this is what it is, then we can obviously do this then for our own truth. And in entrepreneurism, that's what you need in a successful company. And if you can, the same thing in a group, this group, many other channels, is that we come together. We may not always agree. In fact, many times we can agree to disagree, but we find the commonality of the adventure because there's magic here. When I look at the names in the chat room, I see masters, priestess, wizards, magicians, witches. I see people that have mastered parts of this. And I know this, when you start a company from just an idea, like the time I was sitting across from Gate 8 there in Austin Bergstrom Airport, heading back up to Denver. And on my legal pad, I wrote my next idea. And the thing is, people want magic. They want to see it work. They don't want to see the tricksters and all that. No, they want to really see this thing work. And it does work. Work even when the forces are absolutely all stacked against you. So here we are. We spent an hour together. And what is good on the surface, it's the fear too. I mean, you've got to stay away from it. It's contagious. It's everywhere. There's some shit happening and there's bad stuff coming. That's just a fact. But what I do know is that it doesn't have to affect you. You can literally have this immune, this shell, this spear. So that's what I'm going to do. Not get discouraged, not get down. No, I'll continue to speak favor over my life, your lives every day. I'll continue to say that there's nothing missing, nothing broken. That is my ever-present reality. And it manifests itself, and it's preparing my way into the next life. There's no other way for it not to work. That's how it works. I'll have my guides with me when I make that transition, but that's the reality that's going to be waiting. Nothing missing, nothing broken. Now, sometimes I see this, I don't even fully understand the full ramifications of that, because it can run counter to maybe something that where you have a want or a desire. But if you spoke something that triumphs over that, well, what you've spoken that triumphs over, that's what's the one that's going to take rank. So anyway, Chris, that cracks me. I've been working on my gallows humor. Okay, and I mean this, folks. And you know, when I say love, it's the energy of the family. It's a camaraderie, and it's amazing. Plus, we've been at this for so long, all of us coming together. I mean, many of us have spent more time here with each other than we have with our own families. That's what happens. Jackie, you're right back. She says, nothing missing, nothing broken. Yeah. Kitty says, may my words find the ones that need them. Be there for the ones that can heed it later and irritate the bad guys. There you go, girl. That's what I'm talking about. Mark, right back at you, brother. You are a wizard. That's a fact. Lots of us wizard here. Like John Price. Yeah, it's true. Lady Ellie, agape love to you, my dear. And that is truly what the word is in the proper tense. Yes. Okay, Sarah. Well, thank you. You make me smile too. You know, again, laughter doeth the heart is a good medicine. You can heal yourself by laughing. So start laughing. All right, folks, much appreciation. See you tomorrow. We're going to pick up on this book on Magick. I want to get and share a little bit more on it because there is some things in there. Wow. I mean, I call them golden nuggets. And these are the ones that weigh like 22 ounces, you know. You got a little nugget. No, we're talking freaking nuggets. You know what I mean? Lost in Space, right back at you. Pamela, thank you. My therapist wrote that I have magical thinking, like it was an unhealthy. Pamela, I don't know this, but I'll guarantee I think you probably unnerved her just a little bit. Way to go. So Yosley, thank you. This is the Agape Inn. I like that. All right, everyone. See you tomorrow, Thursday. Check out Nina's channel. I know she does her midday show over there on the Non-Religious Truth channel. So way to go. CLT, sending you unconditional love as well. All right, Susie Q, Rick, and all the rest of you, much love. See you tomorrow. And remember, speak your magic. Doesn't matter what anyone else says. And no matter how fucking broke you may be, how sick you may be, how miserable it may be, you can turn that around. I've been there. I've been on the streets homeless where I couldn't afford my own shadow. But I never allowed it to keep me there. Can't do it. No. And you can do the same. I'm nothing special. You know? In my mind, I'm really special, but okay. I'll talk to you all